Citizen Jones. Okay, it's 91 days to the conduct of the 2023 general election. Now you know, so get your PVC in readiness to vote at the elections. But today on the program, hear this, marketers, that's oil marketers, justify pump price of petrol above 200 naira per liter, attribute scarcity to dry depot, redact major hike in fuel prices before the end of this December. But I'm hanging out with a returning Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Biko, I greet you.
Thank you, citizen.
Yeah. We also have Bola Olajuwon. Bola, I greet you.
I greet you too.
Okay. So the team is ready. I hope you are. All right. Unfortunately, we are starting on a rather sad note. Singer, songwriter, psalmist Sammie Okposo, we are told, passed this morning, and his sudden passage, I dare tell you, is breaking our hearts here. So we say, may God console the family, and may he find perpetual rest in the bosom of the Lord. 51-year-old Sammie Okposo made popular Welu Welu. I'm sure, Jide, you remember that song?
Yes.
Yeah. Bola, you did?
Yeah, I did.
Too.
It's quite unfortunate. It's a sad situation.
Yeah. It was 51 years, and it is said we have one life to live. If you live it well, very well, once is enough.
Yes, but nobody wants to see someone that he idolizes pass on so early. He died at a time when he still has so much to offer. You know, when we're talking about Sammie Okposo, before he even made name as a gospel artist, he was already very popular with the composition of soundtracks for Nollywood movies. At a point, it looked like he was the one.
And stagecraft is another thing I can't forget.
At a point, it looked like he was the only one even writing all the soundtracks for all those movies, you know, because you just see his name in the end credit. And I lived in a part of the town where I used to see him. That's
him.
You know, for a long time he was Ketensio's boyfriend, and at a point I even thought they were going to get married because they were so close.
You knew that much about him?
Yes.
Wow.
So much. It's unfortunate. It's a debt we all owe.
Yeah.
But no one wants to see people die at a time when they still have so much to offer, when they still have the energy and all that.
Well, Christians, Jide, I'm sure you are one. Bola is a Muslim. Christians will talk
but
about...
that doesn't mean.
No, it's all right. Christians will talk about a resurrection morning. Sammie will meet on resurrection morning.
Amen.
May you rest in the bosom of the Lord.
Amen.
All right, then. So, to our first story this evening. You know, the electoral umpire, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has moved to peg campaign donation limit at 50 million naira and barred rallies in schools and worship centers. A proviso is that contribution by an individual or entity shall be from 150 days to campaigns, while contribution to aspirants by an individual or an entity shall be from the date notice of election is published to the conclusion of the party primaries. The INEC must do its job.
Yes.
But the politician must play by the rules.
By the rules, yes. INEC is not just the Electoral Act that is really crucial to the conduct of elections in any given electoral season, but INEC also has guidelines, not necessarily specified in the Electoral Act, to guide the conduct of elections. But politicians always go against the stipulations in the Electoral Act, and that's why you see litigations all over the place. More than 600 cases still in court as we speak. All of the 18 presidential candidates have cases against them in court as we speak. Not to talk of primaries that were supposedly decided months ago. Up till now, they are in court because politicians will not play by the rules. And if I come to the conclusion that you won because you didn't play by the rules, because you cheated me, then I will approach the courts.
Yeah.
When people say, why are the courts deciding for the people? Why are the courts? It's because
That's
the
their
politician,
business, yeah?
the politician will not follow the rule. And if you fail to follow the rule, then the person who feels wronged has somewhere else to go. And that is the courts.
Redress,
So
yeah.
matters that they should decide on their own, it's the courts that are deciding such matters for them. So it's not the fault of the court that they have become so preeminent at this time. It is the bad behavior that we have come to identify with politicians that lends a lot more weight to the courts.
Yeah. Bola, you know, he said that corruption happens because there is impunity. Impunity happens because of the big boys, in this case, big politicians. So the court must always, as he said, come to the rescue like a Daniel, come to judgment.
Yes, the court must. Look at what is happening in Osun. What concerns PDP in how Oyetola was nominated? I don't know. They went to court to say that he was not properly nominated.
After their man has been elected.
You understand me? Not only that, for the last election they did, they went to court. Okay? The High Court said, what type of case? The court threw out the case.
Yeah.
They went to Court of Appeal. The appeal court now said, you look at this. Okay, your client said you should come here. Do you think this is right? At the end of the day, say, are you withdrawing or you are not withdrawing? And the implication of that to the lawyer that came for that case is that he may not be considered for SAN if it should apply. If they throw out that case.
Wow.
What they did was, what he just did, he said, please, sorry, he withdrew the case. And the court eventually threw out the case. But what I'm now saying is that, you see, if, I'm sorry to say, let me use a word. If a prophet of God come to this world, to Nigeria to organize the election, he will fail.
But INEC will not take him. Let's go there. INEC has said it should not exceed 50 million naira. That's the rule. But will the politician play by the rule?
They won't play by the rule. Let me tell you, it is the issue that you will see. This is a country driven by cash. And the cash is not ordinary naira. Politicians do all this rubbish with dollars and foreign currencies now. And that is why we're having this peculiar situation.
Politics has been dollarized too.
Dollarized, seriously dollarized. Okay, and heavy cash. That is why we're having the problem of lack of enough foreign exchange in the country. It's part of it. Though naturally, we are not, exporting things that would really drive money into the country. Yeah. But what about, our people that are in diaspora? What about the money they are sending? All this money, immediately they get to the system, you can't find them. But what I'm not saying is this, Citizen Jones, politicians are known for who they are. Fine. INEC is saying 50 million. How much is 50 million? When somebody, a governor will come out and say, oh, he's donating 1 billion. Somebody will say, he's donating 500 billion. It is when you even see the money that you will say you want to trace and you want to go and arrest. The only thing that INEC can do, and INEC officials have been doing that, and security agents have been doing that, is to trace where people who are dishing out money during election are hiding. So that...
But my trouble is you hardly punish when you catch a felon.
That is it. That is the only thing, because it's a matter of the big boys.
Let's extend the logic. It also says no campaigns at schools and worship centers.
Yes, because even the law prohibits campaigning based on the basis of religion, for example.
Okay.
So if people are permitted to campaign in their worship places, then it's most probable that they will campaign on the basis of religion, which the law frowns against. We are not to campaign based on religion or ethnicity. But we know, again, that these politicians do not see anything wrong in that. So pastors cannot use their pulpit to campaign for preferred candidates. And then even in the mosque, this should also not happen. They also mentioned police station, and I'm wondering who goes to police station to even campaign in the first place. So INEC, there's nothing wrong in INEC setting its rules, but I think at this stage, INEC should be more concerned about rules that it can enforce.
Yes.
I will be happy to see vote buying banished from our electoral processes, but I also know that it is at this stage difficult, if not impossible, because politicians have now devised other methods by buying people's conscience ahead of the election day. So it's not a question, oh, on election day they are giving people handouts. Before the election day, they start putting the money in your hands.
Jide, is it difficult to tell the elector, don't part with your voter card?
No, it's not even, you don't have to even part with voter cards to get money. There are people who are given rams, who are given cows, so that the last Ileya, this election in Osun, during Ileya, they gave people cows, they gave people rams, just to buy their conscience. So by the time election day comes, you remember that, oh, this person was good to me, the other candidate didn't care whether I got a ram or not. So you then begin to take a decision as to who to vote for on the basis of what you see as a good turn. You understand? But it's not really a good turn. Somebody has made you cheap. He's bought your conscience. You and I can argue that, well, at this stage, power now resides in the hands of the voter. Yes, but the voter is being bought for that power that he has. So if INEC can do its best to curtail this, I'll be happy. But saying that, oh, the campaign, limiting, pegging campaign funding and all that, as they are trying to do, yes, they are doing it in the US. Even in the US, people still breach it. So I don't know how in Nigeria this can work, because politicians know that this little money is not enough to even win a senatorial election. You could be spending in excess of 500 million naira.
Yeah, yeah.
It is that bad now. So how do you, it's not every transaction that passes through the banking system. How do you track such payments? If I want to give you money, I will give you cash. Cash is usually difficult to trace. I will give you cash. So these politicians, they are impossible, and because they are impossible, in my view, some of these, let's even start from the primaries. Can we stop them from bribing delegates, for example?
All right, let's make some money here. We'll take commercials. We'll be back. Please stay with us.
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the presidential candidate of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, in the coming 2023 elections in Nigeria. With a solid background in corporate accounting, consultancy, pro-democracy activism, political career and achievements as a two-term governor of Lagos State, and his role as the national leader of the ruling political party, Asiwaju is a great icon in the political and democratic stage in Nigeria. However, with the unethical activities of his political opponents and recent campaign of calumny by these elements, it is now time to set the record straight and put a final end to these false allegations. This is a true story for all Nigerians to know that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu clearly has no prior criminal convictions. The documents released by the Northern District of Illinois headquarters in Chicago on a narcotic trafficking and money laundering in an early 1990s case in Chicago, USA, did not indict Asiwaju. A U.S. federal judge subsequently dismissed the matter with prejudice on the 21st of September 1993, which effectively foreclosed the matter from being litigated again by all parties. In legal terms, a dismissal with prejudice means the ruling is the final judgment in the case. This dismissal prohibits the prosecutor from refiling the charges anywhere. With this foreclosure, these charges cannot be brought against Asiwaju in any other court of law worldwide. On the 4th of February 2003, the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria, in response to inquiries by Nigerian Police Force, wrote a letter to the then Inspector General Mr. Tafa Balogun and stated that the Federal Bureau of Investigation (FBI) and the National Crime Information Center (NCIC) had conducted record checks and the results were negative for any criminal arrest records, warrants or warrants for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. With the U.S. clearance of any criminality, this campaign of calumny against Asiwaju has no basis. The recent visit of the U.S. government officials to Asiwaju's presidential campaign office in Abuja, amongst other countries' ambassadors, further consolidates this position of truth. Let's end this distraction to Nigeria's democratic future and focus on supporting the only man whose track records clearly show that he is the most experienced and qualified man to lead Nigeria in 2023. It should not be surprising that Asiwaju is the target of all these insults, abuses and campaign of calumny because he is the man to beat. He is a main contender for the Nigerian presidency because he stands head and shoulders far above any other contender. And because of his political success, his track record of achievements, his acknowledged vision, his remarkable knowledge and his unparalleled courage, he becomes the object of envy and jealousy by perennial political failures and fraudulent interlopers in the Nigerian political space. But Asiwaju, by the grace of God and the well wishes of the vast majority of Nigerians, remains unstoppable. He is fully committed to the renewed hope of Nigerians for a greater nation. Vote wisely. Vote for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president in the 2023 elections.
All right, let the debate continue as to if the mark of 50 million naira given by INEC to political parties as the ceiling for campaign funds and so on, whether it is tenable or not. Let the debate continue. All right, we go to Kogi State now. You know, political campaigns in Kogi East Central District were enhanced as a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress APC and Deputy National Publicity Secretary Murtalaya Yakubu Ajaka donated 46 vehicles to the party at a well-attended gathering of campaign coordinators, local government chairmen, I should say, and stakeholders for the Bola Ahmed Tinubu Shetima for president held at Government House, Lokoja yesterday. Chief Ajaka said the gesture was part of his contribution in ensuring that every campaign coordinator reached every community in the state. Yeah, 91 days to go to the election, so the campaign is hotting up.
Well,
you are not surprised?
I'm not surprised. Actually, the guy that did that, okay, He announced it. He announced it, which is okay. I think he has nothing to fear. That's why he announced it.
No skeleton in the cupboard?
In his yes, or wardrobe. Now, let's look at it.
See the vehicles.
Yes. Now, let's look at it. Okay, we have politicians in Nigeria here, who are being sponsored by money bags. We know these money bags, and they will say that they are not giving out anything to Nigerians, and they are collecting money, not only from Nigerian money bags here, they are also collecting money from Nigeria in the diaspora. So what the guy has done, I don't see anything so bad about it. If indeed he actually uses money to buy those vehicles, and he did that for the performance, to enhance the performance of the party, I don't see anything so bad about it.
Jide, it's happening in your state.
Yes, Yorubas will say, Owo ni keke inherere.
Owo ni keke
inherere. That means to spread the gospel.
You must get money.
You need money. You know?
Yeah.
So, and
my people say, now food, guys where they sweep road to church, they chop. They must chop belful and sweep.
The premise is very well.
The point that I'm trying to make is politics is expensive in our country. It's highly capital intensive.
Yeah.
Whoever does not know that is someone who had politics. Once you get involved in politics, you have to spend money, and you need these vehicles to move around, go to different parts of the state. And these are people pushing for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima to emerge as the president of the country, and they will not spare any expense to achieve their aim. Ajaka Yakubu was chief of staff to the governor of Yobe State, then became deputy publicity secretary of the APC during their last convention. But he's making his mark in his own way in Kogi State, especially in Kogi East, where he's gone around
Is a Kogi
donating.
son?
Yes, he's a Kogi son from Kogi East. He's been giving palliatives to victims of floods. You know, Kogi was badly affected by flood. In fact, one of the local governments, Ibaji, was 98% submerged.
Wow.
Yes. What they experienced in Ibaji was worse than what was experienced
The confluence
in Lokoja.
Tell me it was badly hit.
Yes. I'm saying that what was experienced in Ibaji was worse than what was experienced in Lokoja.
Wow.
In terms of the areas affected. At least in Lokoja, there were some places that were not really affected. But Ibaji, submerged. Many of them had to go and stay in Ida and other places. They were even, some were sleeping on trees.
Trees.
Yes. I was told the story of a man who lost his son. Nowhere to bury the son because everywhere was covered by water.
Yeah.
So they were perching on top of the roof.
Tops.
Yes. Until help came and they took the child to go and bury in the next village. So he has been helping people traumatized by this flooding and providing some form of support for them, you know. And our people usually do not forget such good gestures.
Yeah.
You know, we all like to see good gestures, especially when we are directly impacted. So for someone like him, this is his own way of supporting the emergence of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Okay.
You know, and ultimately he knows that his own time will come when people will remember that is the one wearing blue. The person talking is the current chief of staff to the governor of Kogi State. That is pharmacist Asuku. You know, that's the man who cut the tape. So the man beside him is the one who donated this vehicle. So that's investing in the future.
Yeah.
politicians will always remember those who back them wholeheartedly.
That's the man now.
Yes, the man wearing the blue cap.
Yeah.
That is Yakubu Ajaka, you know. So politicians will always remember such people. So it's like he's investing in the future, knowing that by the time Asiwaju and Co. emerge as president, Asiwaju and Shetima emerge as president, they will remember those who worked hard for them. It's not every politician that does not reward loyalty and hard work. So he's standing up to be counted.
Okay.
That's what Ajaka is doing. And of course, with his people, he's also been going around providing support for the people who have suffered as a result of flooding. Right. So that way, he's making a statement. Okay. He's making a statement that, look, I am somebody good enough to be considered for leadership position in future. This is the way I see what he has done.
Well, nothing more to add.
Nothing more to add. Actually, the place is Jide's
nine brother.
Nine brother.
Yes. He's my good brother, a very good gentleman.
All right, so that's the name of the game. You invest for tomorrow. The best way to preserve the future is to invent it. So that's what's happening. All right, to our next story. Here it is. History tells me that history, a school subject, was removed from the basic curriculum 13 years ago. Now the federal government, in its wisdom, has formally announced its reintroduction, meaning that history as a standalone subject in basic education is back. Education Minister Malam Adamu lamented at the flag-off ceremony of the reintroduction that national cohesion was being threatened. Recall that the subject of history was removed from academic session in 2009-2010. A most important lesson of history is that man does not learn from history. But just before we go into the details, let's take this commercial break. We'll be back.
Nigeria is the second most recovered industry in the world. When aviation became the fastest growing sector of Nigerian economy, according to MBS, according to Finance Ministry, the fastest growing sector of Nigerian economy pre-COVID, then it became the third fastest growing during COVID. Today, according to ACI, Airports Council International, that we are recovered at 110% of pre-COVID numbers. So it's only Colombia at 115%. We are at 111% recovery. Because what? Because we were proactive and we developed the protocols early enough, ahead of the initial ICAO recovery task force publication. The protocol document was shared with regional and international organizations with positive feedback.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Good afternoon, sir. Please, I need a room to rent in your house.
Okay, where do you work?
I'm a nurse.
That means you won't owe me rent. Congratulations, young lady. You have yourself a house.
Well, thank you so much, sir. So, how much is the rent?
90,000 naira. Oh, but wait, where are you from?
I am from Akamata.
Akamata what? Akamata in my house? If you know how you got into my house, please get out right away. My spirit and that of Akamata people don't have anything to do together.
Sir, what have I done?
Your people from Akamata are known for bad things. That is what they represent, and you can't live in my house. Just get out right away.
What's going on?
Leave my house, young lady. Yes, our differences extend to our languages, culture, food, and even belief. But we are bound together by the cord of love. With one heart, with one voice, we will make Nigeria a hub of greatness, a place where the people live as one.
This message is brought to you from the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the UK government.
How important is comfort to you? Is it as important as the day you discovered that self-love is the start of good life?
Here is a comfort that your self-love, Iderade, transit into your serenity. The opportunity awaits you on this peace of mind as you pay in installments of 24 months with initial deposit of 500,000 naira. Serenity at its finest.
Okay, let's go back there. History is back, even if as a standalone subject. Jide, silently you are asking, why was it removed in the first place?
Yes, as a historian myself, I've been asking that question for some time, and what we were told was that students avoided the subject, that graduates didn't have job prospects when they read history, and that teachers were insufficient. You know, so they gave all kinds of reasons, but for me, those reasons were not enough.
Not tenable.
Yes, not tenable. When we were in school, we had enough teachers, and some of the best. Some of the teachers that I cannot forget their impact on my life were actually my history teachers. You know, so to say teachers were insufficient or students avoided the course and that there was no job prospect, these are just untenable excuses to drop. I guess the people didn't even know what they were doing. When we look back, history, the white people told us that, oh, the imperialists told us that Africa didn't have any history that needed to be studied. It took the likes of Buhari. I'm sure you remember Buhari in secondary school, if you read a bit of history. Buhari, Jeff Ade Ajayi, probably the greatest historian of all time in our country, and other people. They showed that, look, Africa actually had
a rich
history.
Yeah.
Today, the history of our continent is taught in the best universities in the world.
Yeah.
But it had not always been like that. The imperialists thought that, look, there's no need to study African history. But that has changed. For us to now, in our own country, now decide that, look, it was not necessary to study history as a standalone subject. I'm really ashamed that we could even get to that point. History is described as the balanced interpretation of the past and the present, providing evidence and context. That's the simple definition of history. If Nigerians were allowed to learn history, especially young, impressionable people, their patriotism will get better. The sense of national identity will be built in them. It's always good to do it at a young level. And then your worldview will also get better. Sometimes I ask myself, where will I be, for example, if I didn't study history, if I didn't show an interest in knowing a lot about my country? Because moving away, even after I graduated, I have buried myself, I have consumed myself in the pursuit of knowledge about my country. I want to be able to speak about any part of Nigeria with sufficient knowledge. The absence of that is total ignorance. If people cannot talk about their country, can't learn about their country, then ignorance, falsehood, and misinformation takes over. We are even still saying that people like Gawan, our former president, should document their time as Nigerian leaders so that people can read and learn about what transpired. If they don't write, then that knowledge is gone.
For good.
People say, I've heard people say that knowledge not shared is a waste. What do you gain by not sharing knowledge? What do you gain by not learning learning about your country?
Bola, when the Minister of Education is saying the national cohesion was being threatened in the country because history was dropped as a subject. How does it hit you?
Who took?
In line with what he's saying?
The question we should ask him, those people that took the decision to stop the study of history, didn't they think about that before they took that action? Now,
does he himself not have a history?
He was not part of the decision.
Okay, fine. He was not part of it, but some people took the decision.
No. Does the minister not have a history and a history element about him?
About him, you see, the issue is Yoruba will say, "Mamadu oba bata, aba aroba ni baba ata." Okay, like if a child does not know about history, he will meet or they will tell him about some accounts, historical accounts, not history, some occurrences that happen, and those occurrences that they mention to him are the real history. You don't understand me now? Not the history that he didn't meet on ground. That is history.
Yeah.
But if somebody now told you that at so time, this is what happened, and at so time, this is what happened, and this is what happened, that one is authentic. Then, that time I was told that so happened. The other time I was told. But the person telling you the account of those things is first-hand. That rubber is first-hand.
It's like you're telling a 35, 40-year-old Nigerian today that we fought a 30-month civil war.
Yes.
An avoidable civil war.
Yes.
You need to know what took us there.
Yes. You see, the issue is that I know that those people that took the decision, they took it because of certain, maybe they took it as a result of, I don't know how to describe it. They shouldn't in the first instance. Maybe they thought history did not for them. And if that should be the case, let's forget about it and let's move on.
Of course, Jide, a great thinker had said, one poignant lesson of history is that man hardly learns from history. So
I'm sure
thankfully
it
is back.
I'm sure that we will learn from this. I'm very confident because, look, a lot of our young people know next to nothing about their country. People only have information about the area where they live.
Yeah.
Why did we come up with the unity schools in the first place? It was meant to deepen national integration and for people who all their lives had lived in Lagos to have an idea of what living in the north looked like. Why did we have NYC?
Yeah.
NYC will take you out of your own comfort zone
to a far-flung place.
Far-flung place where you learn to live like an adult who just got his freedom, away from your parents and all that. It's the same thing that the unity schools...
Imbibe a new way of life.
Yes, a new culture. It's the same thing that the unity schools sought to do. These were measures that the government came up with after the Civil War to make us, to unite us as a people, to deepen national integration. Now, we are saying that a people privileged to learn about their history are more likely to be more patriotic and believe in their country and believe in national identity more than people who knew nothing about their country. To have a situation in which you promote a situation in which people do not have a chance to learn about their country. I think it was a big mistake that was made back then in 2009. Some of us were raised in the broad knowledge of our country. My parents worked in the north. I was born in the north. And then we came back to the southwest. And then back to the north. You know, you understand? So there are many people like that. We need to know about our country a lot more. And I'm happy that history is back in the curriculum in secondary schools, and this will help our young people to even love their country more. Because there are certain things that you read about your country. You then tell yourself, oh, so my country was this great back in the 60s. Oh, then what is stopping us? That determination to take us to the glory days can then consume you in a way.
You ask new questions, and of course, a new vista will open to you.
Yes, that's
about yesterday.
About yesterday, the glorious past.
Yeah.
And who says that the glorious past cannot be created?
It can.
It can be created.
It
can be created. We've seen countries emerge from the ashes of of war to become really great. Rwanda is an example.
Yeah, when I sit here and recall that today we are a country that imports palm oil from another country.
Yes.
It makes me
processed. We now import processed palm oil.
Even what of Garif?
I've seen, sometimes people buy palm oil. It's actually bleached palm oil that they are buying, and they take is granite oil.
Yeah.
It's already processed. Yeah. So for me, when I want to buy maybe 5-liter keg of vegetable oil, I'm reading what is there. What is written in Spanish, I'm reading it. I know how palm oil is written in Spanish. So once I see it, I say, no, this is palm oil. I say, no, I don't need this. If people don't know.
Yeah.
Bleached palm oil can actually look exactly like granite oil when it's bleached.
All right, but let us make some more money. Bola, we'll go on another commercial break. We'll be back. Please stay with us.
This place will have a recreational park that is designed to make life comfortable. Wellness is key, and we're putting this place that will help people to, keep up on their health where they go burn their fat. And the timeline for this project is estimated to start and end within 18 months. But however, it starts in phases. The first phase is to get this place secured and gated, which is done.
Mowe is a growing city, and if you are very, very smart, then you realize that the Lagos-Ibadan expressway that is being developed is going to throw Mowe open furthermore.
People that have gone ahead of us have great investment here. And even way in the 90s, even before we talked about coming here. So I think it's a good idea, Iderade coming here.
Okay, so let's raise the argument here. History is back in the curriculum, so let's make the most of it. Thank you, Oga Minister. Okay then, to this last story. The trouble with our supply of the premium motor spirit PMS, that's petrol, may be a long way from being resolved. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, has said the current scarcity of petrol and the attendant queues at petrol stations in many states across the country, including Lagos, are caused by the unavailability of the product at the private depots. IPMAN National Operations Controller Mike Oshatui added that even where a liter of the PMS was got, the price was very exorbitant. At the same time, Oshatui has dismissed insinuations that a hike in the pump price of the PMS was planned for end of December. Bola, are you surprised?
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. You see, we will continue to be in this kind of situation for so long if we continue to import fuel to the country. Okay? We are an oil-producing country. We are an oil-producing country. Why should we...
Not palm oil, crude oil.
Crude oil. Why should we be suffering? Why should the citizens be suffering every now and then? You see, the issue is this. Marketers will rather import so that they can get more money from subsidy than to produce refined oil in this country. So I don't know.
The man on the street is still bemused by the subsidy regime.
That is it. People are making billions from it. Look at it. You see, how to refine oil is not difficult. Go to we have millions refineries, and people are doing it. But the issue is this:
the so-called illegal.
Yes, illegal. But people are using the substance, the products, and we are not hearing of burning the vehicles. But the one they still import into the country, most of the time you see vehicles breaking down everywhere. Then what is the situation? Okay, you see, I remember MKO Abiola in 1992 asking about this issue of subsidy. He said, look, you are subsidizing fuel. Can you tell us how much a liter of fuel will cost to produce? Nobody answered him. Even during presidential campaign, he raised that issue. Nobody answered him. Okay, now look at it. When Sani Abacha took over, he said they wanted to remove the subsidy.
You are giving us the history.
Yes, yeah. Well, if you say that, well, he said they wanted to remove subsidy. They will use it in construction of road, and that is where Buhari came in. Okay, he gave Buhari the agency to say, oh, you people,
PTF.
PTF. You understand me? They were constructed. At the end of the day, do you want to tell me that this subsidy...
Petroleum Trust Fund.
Yes, Trust Fund. Now, do they want to tell me that every now and then, okay, when Obasanjo came into, he did this all. Yeah, removing subsidy, okay, they are...
did he really remove subsidy?
That was what they said. Look at the partial removal. Abacha did the remover. People shouted, they protested. No, he refused. But you see, the issue is that in a country that we fail to do what we ought to do, diseases will continue to suffer.
No wonder Jesus the Christ said they will take from those who don't have and give to those who have. So the rich will be richer, the poor poorer. We are there.
That's
the parable of the talents.
That is completely going against the character of Robin Hood. Because Robin Hood robbed the rich to feed the poor. But a different kind of Robin Hood would rather rob the poor to feed the rich. We don't want that kind of Robin Hood. Oh, yeah. All kinds of things are happening, but I can say that at the rate we are going, whether it's depot owners or Ipman, the people, petroleum products, they all want this price to go up because they believe that they are operating at a loss. I was reading about 163% hike in the cost of renting daughter vessels. Daughter vessels are the vessels that you first use to offload products from the giant, the giant vessels that bring them. So a 163% hike in the cost of rentals, of renting the facility, means that dealers are now spending a lot more than they are spending before. Some of them bought products at 205 naira per liter. Some of them who have the product, they bought at 205 naira per liter. Of course, Nigerians who are desperate to fuel their cars, to put fuel in their generators because they don't want to sleep in darkness, they are going to pay. If you do any marginal top-up of the price, because they don't want to suffer, they will pay. So some are ready to buy at 205 naira per liter, knowing that our people, once they can see the product, they will be willing to pay. Now, according to these marketers, one big reason for this mess that we find ourselves is that supply has tapered down from the NNPC. This is what the NNPC never tells you. They told us back in, I think it was Farouk Ahmed, that told us back in October that, no, the stakeholders are coming together, this fuel scarcity will be addressed and all that. But what have we seen? We are still in this mess. So whatever needs to be done to ensure that marketers do not feel that they are not unable to recoup.
Pass the buck.
Yeah, they are unable to recoup what they spent because operating expenses are going up. And what it then means is that, look, these guys, you know, they're also complaining that access to foreign exchange through official channels has not been easy. So if they have to go now to black marketers, to brew the change people, to take forex at 700 and something naira to $1, of course they will pass the burden back.
I hear we must go. I hear we must go. Happily, Bola, Africa had a winner at the World Cup today, the first one.
Which is good.
Okay. Senegal, tell them, say,
yes,
we
won without money. So we can still win.
It is possible.
It's Africa's best nation in football. And I expect them to do well, despite the massive loss of their talismanic player, Sadio Mane.
All right, so that's it on the program today. What more can we say? We make the choices that haunt us. We have the duty of dealing with the choices we have made. If you miss this broadcast, join us at 11 later tonight for a repeat broadcast. And of course, don't forget, on Sunday, we expand the field for you from 1:30 to 3:30. And of course, we are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. So on behalf of the Backroom Boys and BKO and Olajunwa. Bye-bye now. I'm Citizen Jones.
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the presidential candidate of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, in the coming 2023 elections in Nigeria. With a solid background in corporate accounting, consultancy, pro-democracy activism, political career and achievements as a two-term governor of Lagos State, and his role as the national leader of the ruling political party, Asiwaju is a great icon in the political and democratic stage in Nigeria. However, with the unethical activities of his political opponents and recent campaign of calumny by these elements, it is now time to set the record straight and put a final end to these false allegations. This is a true story for all Nigerians to know, that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu